What does next level dairy management look like? Well, for Greg Kowalewski, it looks like early lameness detection, but not with the human eye, rather through the power of AI. That's artificial intelligence, and a camera monitoring system that is helping Aurora Oakwood Dairy in New York catch lameness at the onset, so cows can get to the trimmer for early intervention and back up to top performance faster. Greg and I sat down at World Dairy Expo to learn about his experiences with Nedap's SmartSight technology and how it fits into his goals as a dairy farm manager. All this and more here today on the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. This episode is part of the High Performance Mindset series powered by Nedap. Nedap is future-proofing dairy farms by revolutionizing cowside care through technologies and activity monitoring, cow locating, milk metering, and identification. Greg, nice to sit down with you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we're here at World Dairy Expo. You're a long ways from home.
I am, yeah. So Central New York, it'd be about 11-hour drive, so I flew in last night.
Yeah. And so you are the manager at Aurora Oakwood Dairy in New York, as you said. Tell us a little bit about the dairy and your role there.
Yeah, so we're a 2,300 cow dairy. We're partnered with another farm, Aurora Ridge Dairy. They're about 2,500 cows. Central New York, we raise all our young stock, 1,700 on site, 4,500 acres of farming, and we belong to a milk co-op, Cayuga Marketing, where we sell and market our own milk in little niche markets around the world.
Awesome. How did you ever get into this?
When I was younger, I grew up, my uncle had a tie stall herd, and I grew up working there and fell in love with the industry and the work and the cows. So I went to Penn State University. And one of the owners of Aurora Ridge grew up in the same area, and he came back home for the county fair and said, hey, why don't you come do an internship with us?
Oh, you're kidding.
I did an internship at Aurora Ridge for the summer, and that was in between my junior and senior year. And then after my senior year, they're like, well, do you want to come work for us now? And I said yes. And the rest is history. I've been there for 7.5 years now.
Wow. So he found you at the county fair.
Yep.
Recruited you.
Yep.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, he's been a close family friend of ours, and my mom and him were talking, what's Greg going to do? And here we are.
Wow. I love that. Okay, so what does your day-to-day look like now?
So I started as herdsman, and 2 years ago I took over a management role. So I'm in charge of all the lactating cows, as well as the parlor and the 14 people that work in that area. So my day when I get there, I check everything, make sure milk is cold, people are happy, everything's getting done that needs to get done, and then just go start working with the cows.
Yeah. So it's interesting, Greg, because your time as a herdsman and now a manager these last 7 years has been also a time where technology in dairy has just grown so quickly. So you come into management at a really interesting time.
Yeah.
So for you, how do you balance this out? Because you said earlier, you just really like cows.
Yeah.
You love working with cows. And now you've got technology at your fingertips in a few different forms. We'll talk about more of that in a second. But what's it been like for you to be on this journey in dairy with technology by your side?
It's been very exciting. So I've always loved new tech. So I want to look for something that's going to make us more efficient, streamline processes on the farm, and technology has certainly been something to do that, whether it's on the cow side, on the milk side, on the system side, cameras, on the electrical side. We can do a lot more monitoring than we could just 7 years ago when I first started.
Yeah. So when you first started, what was in place?
When I first started, thankfully the farm owners were already heavily adopted into technology. So we had milk weights in the parlor, sort gates, and rumination technology was just becoming the new thing. So we were doing a trial with rumination tech, and that was the game changer for the farm at the time, because we went from locking up every fresh cow 10 days of milk and doing temp and urine and spending 2 hours to looking at 1 to 2 cows a day for 10 minutes.
So that was a huge efficiency.
Yes.
At that time for you.
Yes.
So did that kind of set you on the path to say, wow, what more can we do?
Yes, for sure. Technology has to work. It has to work, and it has to make us more efficient. There's no point in putting something in if it's just going to add more stress and time to our daily lives.
So, let's talk about lameness monitoring technology for a moment here, because this topic of lameness, it wasn't something that you necessarily were struggling with, but an area that you were looking to really fine tune. So take me back. What was going on in your mind when you looked at improving hoof health, overall locomotion and well-being in the herd. What did you want that you didn't have?
Yeah, so especially with lameness, so if someone had time, they would watch a group of cows walk in the parlor, or if the cow pusher saw a lame cow, they would identify her for us. But we didn't really have a good system set in place to look at every cow consistently every day or multiple times a week even. So when Nedap approached us about their lameness cameras, we were very excited about it, because it's not that we had a lot of lame cows, but certainly we can do a better job identifying the cows that do get lame. We're always trying to get better. So when Nedap approached us to do the trial, we said absolutely, and they've been an excellent partnership so far. We've helped them, they've helped us, and we ended up purchasing the system after the trial. And the quote from our hoof trimmer is that it is finding cows earlier than we are. So
Wow.
We'll find cows. The Nedap system will say there's a cow that needs to have attention, and he'll look at her and say, yeah, she has the start of a white line. So we're catching them before they become that severe cow that is three-legged and ends up on our lame cow strop bedded pack.
So a little bit of a change of a management style, right?
Yeah.
So as you said before, you were relying on your people that were in position to see cows moving,
Yep.
whether they're pushing or whatever else, and they were flagging those cows and then getting the attention there. And now there's a whole monitoring system that catches things faster. But how does it work? So you say cameras.
Yeah.
What does a system like that look like? How did it get implemented into your setup?
So one of the things we liked about Nedap versus other lameness systems is it was one bracket and one camera about half the size of your cell phone. And we have it mounted where the cows walk into the parlor, so the cows have to walk in a single file area, and then it just catches the cows as they walk in the parlor. So essentially 3 times a day you're monitoring that animal to see if she's lame or has a locomotion issue.
So that's where it's located, is
Yep.
in that high traffic area. You're going to catch those cows 3 times a day.
Yep.
And then is it putting that together from an aggregate standpoint each day of saying, okay, we can now look at deviation? Is that what it's identifying for you?
Yeah, so each cow has their own locomotion score from 0 to 100, and each data point gives that cow a score of whatever it is, 63, 75. And then over time, you can make a trend line to see where she is, if she is healthy, if she's lame, if she's becoming severe. And the Nedap has these triggers. So if you have a cow that's starting to decline on her trend line, it will flag her as a low score. She needs to go to the trimmer. So Nedap has a work list on their software, so you can only look at the cows that need to go to the trimmer.
So that one camera, one placement, 3 times a day is picking up cows as they're entering the parlor, exiting the parlor, producing that list of animals to take a look at.
Yep.
Now, in the past, what was it like to have to deal with a larger group of cows, because you had to check suspects and everything else and sort through that based off the human eye? Are you finding that more cows or less cows actually need attention from the camera monitoring?
So realistically, before the system, we were not finding the cows until they were severe. So with the system, I would say we're seeing the same amount of cows. It's just catching her before she gets to that severe point. So we have a cool graph that shows lameness before and after, and it hasn't really changed, but we're just finding them at an earlier, so the rate of severe lame cows has decreased.
Okay, and so with that,
Yes.
if you can reduce the rate of severely lame cows, how does that impact the lost production effect and the recovery and rebound to get that cow back to where you want her to be?
Oh, it's a huge impact. So if you can catch that cow early, and you'll have a minimal loss of production where if she's becomes three-legged and ends up on our pack, she might not recover from that production depending on her stage in lactation.
Yeah, so the catching early is really recovering faster.
Yes.
Also.
Yep.
And so for you, what were your biggest aha moments from having a set of eyes on your cows that was camera driven and able to be there when in places that people can't?
I guess the biggest aha for me was just short and sweet. It works. Like, the system flagged a cow as having a problem. The cow went to the hoof trimmer and he found a lesion. So that's my biggest aha. Our hoof trimmer's there twice a week, and I still do it, even though I have made a partnership with the system. I always say, well, how'd you make out? Just to verify that the system is actually, I'm sending cows to the trimmer that need the attention.
So what's the trimmer's response been to a new system? What was it like to integrate that into his routine?
The trimmer was like me, and we were a little skeptical, but optimistic that it will and is a great product. And certainly we found out that it is a great product. So he loves the system. So we have sort gates and a sort pen. So he'll find the cows and he'll get the cows himself out of that sort pen that he needs to trim, and he has the app on his phone so he can just look up a cow and see what her trend line is doing.
Wow. So that's saving him a lot of time too, isn't it?
Yep.
So when you talk about that early identification, I'm really curious. The system catches things faster. Have you ever looked at a cow that you didn't think was lame and didn't think had that locomotion score that would have indicated lameness, but yet the camera picked up something that your eye couldn't?
Oh yeah,
found something?
certainly. Yeah. So,
tell me a story. What comes to mind?
I mean, there's multiple stories. The system will identify a cow, and then we pull her out of the pen instead of the trimmer. We're like, she's walking fine, and then he gets her up on the table, and he ends up finding the start of a white line or a sole ulcer or some other lesion.
Okay, so you've seen that happen time and time again.
Yes.
Yeah, and so when he gets her in the chute and picks up that foot, like you're like, oh, sure enough,
Yeah.
there it is. So you touched a little bit on results earlier of just this overall ability to catch cows faster, get them back where you want them faster. What else has really stood out to you as far as results? Because you said earlier, you're all for technology, but it's got to work.
Yeah.
And it's got to improve our efficiencies. What else really stood out as making this worthwhile for you?
So something that stood out for us to hire a person to consistently watch every cow walk 3 times a day, it would cost me 3 to 4 times more than the camera system costs. So that was also something that we looked at. It's like, well, for us to get these same results from a human eye, this is what he'd have to do. Here's what it would cost versus what the camera costs us.
Yeah. Has the camera called in sick yet?
No, exactly. Cameras don't call in sick. They don't need housing.
They like to work weekends?
Yes. They don't need a day off. That's one of the reasons we like to embrace technology, because the only time it stops is when it's not functioning, and that's usually something that soft support can take care of very, very quickly.
Yeah. So you have had this locomotion scoring, AI monitoring system for how long now?
We started the trial in January, and we officially purchased the software in July.
Okay. So you have had it now for a good 9 months.
Yep.
About, and you've seen things that you like, that you're seeing,
Yeah.
but you're still in the early stages. What do you think is possible for you and the dairy and the cows based on the progress that you're already seeing?
So AI is just going to keep learning. The camera's only going to get better the more observations it makes, and Nedap is only going to make more features for that camera. So maybe down the road we can do something else with the camera, possibly body condition scoring, or it'll identify something, some other problem with the cow that we haven't thought of yet. So we wanted to be an early adopter of having the camera system that works, especially with the lameness, and then see what the future brings for it.
So really, you see this as an introduction to AI integrated camera monitoring technology. This is just a stepping stone of what you're hoping can open up the door to more.
Yes, SmartSight has worked really well. I will say that we're only trimming, before we trimmed cows on a standard set list based on days in milk and days since last trim. Now we set it based on what the software is telling us. So we're putting our full trust into the software now.
And that's huge.
Yes.
Because what does that list look like now compared to before?
We're trimming cows at a lot earlier in lactation instead of a set 110 days in milk. And it just also shows that the system works because we're putting our trust into using it full time and going away from our old methods.
Yeah. Was it hard to go all in?
It's always a little nerve-wracking to go all in on a new system. Like, if you make the decision to do it, you do the research, so you trust your gut that it will work. So you just push through and don't look back.
Okay, so just take a minute and walk me through the overall hoof health protocol at the dairy.
So,
what does that look like?
We run foot baths 5 days a week. Our hoof trimmer's there twice a week. And we look at the Nedap system 2 to 3 times a week. So every time I make a list for the trimmer, I'm always looking at the Nedap system, looking for lame cows. And it certainly has not disappointed yet.
And then how does that integrate with some of your other protocols for foot bath and regular trims, like you're still doing a dry off trim. How does that all fit together for you?
Yeah, we're still doing a dry off trim, and Nedap was just another tool that opened our eyes to better identify lame cows. The foot baths are the same, the dry off trims are the same, but as far as identifying cows faster and changing when we trim the cow, that's about the biggest things that the system has done for us.
Yeah, so a problem solver, an efficiency booster.
Yep.
It's been a great fit for you and the team at Aurora Oakwood Dairy, Greg.
Yep.
I'm just going to pivot for a moment here to just tap into you and a little bit more about your management philosophy. So you've been at this for a while now, this dairy management thing. What part do you really find that you enjoy the most about what you do every day?
Part that I like the most is working with my people and seeing them do a good job and wanting to do better, and pushes me to want to do better, do a good job. How can we make something more efficient? How can we change the process to make it easier, safer, better for the people, the cows? How can we adopt technology that's going to make everyone's lives easier? So that's really something that I look forward to when I'm managing on a day-to-day basis.
And what does your team look like?
My team is myself, and then I have 14 Hispanics that work with me as well.
Awesome. And how's your Spanish?
My Spanish is getting there.
Yes.
I can talk farm talk, but outside of that, I fall apart. So I'm working on that.
Yeah. So there's an opportunity for AI in dairy, right?
Yes. Yes.
What's the biggest challenge you face as a manager right now?
My biggest challenge as a manager would be making sure that the quality of life for our cows and our people is always the best that we can offer.
And as you say that, this area of lameness that you're really honing in on, speak to that also from this bigger picture of where your milk is going and the values of Cayuga, because those are some high standards that co-op has set forth that you were a part of. Can you just kind of speak to that bigger picture of why something like monitoring lameness does matter at the end of the day to the people that are purchasing your end product?
Yeah, so at Cayuga Marketing, we have the unique aspect where it's solely owned by the farmers in our area, and we find these little niche markets to sell to. However, we want to continually raise our standards so that we can show the public that your product comes from a great place. So this camera technology is something that we can show, hey, we really care about our cows because we're trying to find issues before they become large issues. So with the lameness camera, we could have probably achieved the same results with a person, but we would have had to put a lot more resources into it, and then to get to the level of lameness identification that we're at now. So the camera's been able to allow us to put a minimal inputs into it and achieve the best we can do finding lameness.
That's a really strong point.
These little lame cows that we're finding earlier with the camera, we certainly could have done that by adding a whole other person, but it would have been a lot more input for maybe getting a little more out of it. So that's where this camera has really changed it for us. So our co-op, we try to go after the highest yielding markets, and we have a quarterly audit where our inspector comes in, scores all of our cows, looks for broken tails, lesions, hawk issues, and this camera has just been able to allow us to step up our game on some of those hoof issues that the public might see as not very appealing.
Yeah, and that's a big deal.
Yes.
This is your social license to keep doing what you're doing for a long time, isn't
Exactly.
it? Yeah. So that really fits into the goals of being that premier provider to your co-op.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, Greg, I'm going to give you 5 short answer questions.
Oh, boy.
To just get to know you a little bit more than just Greg the manager, more than just the technology adapter. So question number 1 I have for you, in 3 words, how do you want to show up each day?
3 words: happy, proactive, and competent.
Those are some good ones. All right. And number 2, what does success look like to you? What's your vision of success?
My vision of success would be setting high standards and goals and hitting and exceeding those.
Yeah. And does this give you the opportunity to do that with your role at the dairy?
This certainly does. I want to make every system we have as close to perfect as I can and achieve the highest results that we can doing it.
Okay, so what's your big goal right now?
My big goal right now is to make the same quality product with less inputs and obviously a higher output.
What's it going to take?
What's it going to take? It's going to take technology, and it's going to take everyone doing the best they can do.
So good tech, good team.
Yeah. You're only as good as the people that you work with.
Oh, and speaking of people, who are the thought leaders, the people that have influenced you, that you follow, look to for advice and wisdom? Anybody that really stands out?
I really look at the ownership group of our farm. They're just a really great group of people who I text daily about ideas, problems, hey, how'd you look at this? How'd you look at that? And then inside of our little Cayuga group, there's about 30 farms, and I'm close to most of them, and we bounce ideas off of each other. So it's really nice to have that community right close to us.
Yeah, it's great. And words that you live by?
Do a great job and be happy.
Yeah, you keep it simple.
Yeah.
I like it. Last question. What's your next up level?
I'd like to just keep getting better and see where the future takes us for our farm and our industry.
So when you talk about getting better, this whole lameness area that you've honed in on and really targeted to say this is an area we can get better. Like you said, this wasn't that you had a big problem. This was saying this is an area we can take up a notch in our ability to monitor, observe, and take action faster. Yes. But what's the next area that you believe you can go after to achieve that goal of getting better?
I personally want to take a deep dive into our parlor. So I want to see how we can get more milk flow through our parlor, get the milk away from the cows faster, and get a little bit more see if we can get a little bit more through our system.
All right. So that's your fun. So you're here at World Dairy Expo, or are you on a mission?
Yeah, I'm on a mission. I want to learn. I want to see the new technology that's offered out there. I want to see what's going to work for us and what's going to be the most beneficial and the most cost-effective for us to continue on our mission.
Well, you are in the right place for that, Greg.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up today, what's the one piece of advice you would give to yourself 7 years ago when you started out your career as a herdsman and then dairy manager? What would you tell Greg now?
I guess 7 years ago, I would have told myself that, keep your head down and keep pushing, and then one day you're going to be able to do great things.
Think you're there.
Yeah.
You're there.
We're getting there.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to add today?
I just appreciate you taking your time to do this podcast with me.
Oh, gosh. I appreciate you taking your time. You're in pretty high demand these next few days.
I guess so. I'm just going to enjoy the show and see get the best it has to offer.
Well, thank you so much, Greg.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
And hopefully at some point I get to come back out and see the dairy.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been out there, and sounds like a lot of things have changed with ownership and partnerships and all of that, but from what I'm seeing in the photos and videos, it is just as beautiful as I recall from my first visit out there, 7 or 8 years ago.
Thank you.
And it looks like you're on the path to continue to move that forward.
Yes, for sure.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you very much.
You just heard from Greg Kowalewski from Aurora Oakwood Dairy in New York. If you'd like to know more about SmartSight from Nedap, make sure to check out the links in our show notes. And if you found value in this conversation today, please take a moment to rate and review the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. I'm your host, Peggy Coffeen, and until next time, keep on growing, keep on learning, and up-leveling your dairy.